Tottenham are ready to revisit their interest in Julian Nagelsmann, talkSPORT understands. Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy believes Nagelsmann could be tempted after he pulled out of the race for the Chelsea job, because I think, Danny, he said he didn't like the beauty parade that was going on at Stamford Bridge. I mean, first things first, I think Stellini could have left after 21 minutes last night, couldn't he? Because it was all over.
Well, it seemed a ridiculous appointment in the first place, didn't it? Because he's a Conte man. Didn't change anything initially, nothing at all. I know they got some injuries, but the way they've played the lad, they're obviously not playing for him. He's not shown anything, has he? Not shown any ideas, he's not got a lift, he's not got anything out of them. Although I do think some of the players have to take some responsibility. I mean, 5-0 down after 20 is irrelevant of tactics, irrelevant of what the manager says. Come on. There's some pride, there's some professionalism, there's some things that you can do to stop that happening. You know, 2-0 down after 5 can happen. You're all over the place. Something isn't quite right, but then you quickly...
Should he have changed it then? Because he changed it at 5-0 after 21 minutes, which is horse and bolting and long gone, hasn't it? Because he played Perisic at left-back, who is a left winger or a left wing-back at best. And Porro is a right wing-back, isn't he? Yeah. So he's put two people at full-back who basically aren't full-backs.
Yeah, but there we go. I agree. And Porro got done on one of them. But, you know, you're talking about top-class international players who should be able to adapt from a wing-back to a full-back in a one-off game. And he had 3 midfielders in front of defensive midfielders who could stop the ball going. You know, they were breaking them. They weren't just going down the sides. They were going through them like butter, weren't they? Through butter. So all of them have to take responsibility. Some of the goals were just basics. I mean, Newcastle were great. You're right to say that. Absolutely tremendous. But I think they've done the right thing. Whether it cost them or doesn't cost them doesn't really matter. The players are not listening to him. He's gone.
I'm smiling because I remember vividly being at Stamford Bridge 3 days after Jose Mourinho was sacked for the second time. They played a lunchtime game against Newcastle. They were 3-up Chelsea after 25 minutes. And Mark Lawrenson said to me, "These Chelsea players are an absolute disgrace." I said, "What do you mean? They're winning 3-0. He went, "Exactly. They're winning 3-0. They want to play now, don't they?" I mean, footballers, you have to admit, are a bit like that as a breed sometimes, aren't they?
It can be that way. Yeah, it can be. It can be that way. I think it's difficult when a group is struggling, because they were before Conte left, to quickly change momentum, whoever comes in. But the fact they've got worse and there's been a demise, it has to fall on his shoulders. Yeah.
Martin says Ryan Mason till the end of the season, presumably. Chelsea and Tottenham have had 7 managers between them this season already, I've read, with caretakers and so forth. And then this summer, yet again, it has to be one of the most important appointments Daniel Levy's made, because he's tried the Mourinho, he's tried the Conte, he's tried the serial winner. That doesn't seem to work, does it? What do they do? Dare I say to Tottenham ears, they have to take out a leaf out of Arsenal's book and go, right, we need a long-term appointment here.
Well, yeah, they've needed to do something like that for a long time now. They got Mourinho in because they thought, you know, we need to win a trophy, any trophy. And the staggering thing is, that's the one place he hasn't been able to win a trophy. He's gone to Roma. He's won already.
He probably would have done if he stayed another week.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, they sacked him before the League Cup final. So it's a mess. And look, and they could get lucky. They get Julian Nagelsmann. It's a good appointment. He's a bright young manager. But without looking at it from that absolute structural reform of deciding what Tottenham wish to be and how they wish to go forward, you're just going to keep getting managers interchangeable managers. That whole situation that there was with England not so long ago, where you just appoint the polar opposite of what you had before. So they thought Steve McLaren was too nice, so then they get Fabio Capello in to beat everyone with sticks and everything.
And he wouldn't let them have ketchup, so he's out.
Exactly, yeah. And then they go back, and then it's Roy, and then it's and then it's Sam Allardyce, and then and that's the situation that Tottenham are in at the moment, and it needs someone with a vision to basically say, well, this is what we're about, and this is where we go, and this is how we do it.
The other big appointment they're going to have to make is who's in charge of transfers and who's going to make the decisions, and is it going to be in conjunction with the coach, or is it a separate entity? Because they're the different ways of doing it. Different clubs do it different ways, but they've spent money, just not spent it very well. So yeah, it's going to be two big appointments.
Yeah. And
in unison, as you say, in conjunction, in parallel,
preferably
working together.
Preferably, but not necessarily because they have a friendship or they know each other. Just because they're aligned. The one thing Tottenham have to do now, irrelevant of anything else, is bring in a coach who wants to play on the front foot football. Because gone are the days where you can be pragmatic and play counter and win championships now.
But
that's not going to happen.
But it's going to be hard if you can get a guy in that wants to play front foot football. But potentially, the first thing that's going to happen is they lose Harry Kane, and he's the reason that we all look at Tottenham and think, well, front foot football would work here because what they've got is the best striker in the country, and they've got Son, and they've got and they've got Richarlison, and get on the front.
Well, I'll give you another aspect to that. If you are a manager who really wants to play on the front foot, real high press and high intensity football, I'm not sure Harry Kane is what you want.
Right, that's interesting.
Although he's one of the best strikers in the world, it's sometimes as we've seen, having one or two wonderful players doesn't make the whole jigsaw fit. And I think if you've got someone coming in who really wants to play high press, they might be okay with taking some dough for him.
Danny, do you think that... and Tottenham fans would love to hear from you. 03717 223344 for your views on the manager. 03717 223344. And on the Harry Kane situation, do you think probably... Not for the first time, because he would have obviously had this conversation with his agents and with his family when he very nearly went to Manchester City. But yet again, almost for the most serious time, Harry Kane is thinking about his future this evening. Probably was when he was walking off the pitch at half-time yesterday, about what he does with 1 year left on his contract when he's 30 this summer.
He's got to be. I mean, he's got to be sick to death of playing in a team that's so poor and uncompetitive. I can't see why he would stay now. More so, I said that before, but even more so. The problem he's got is what are his options? That's the key. Yeah. Because if you're going to move from the club you love and where you're becoming, well, he already is a legend, but you're breaking records every time you go on the pitch, it's got to be to a place that's going to allow him to be more competitive and win, or try to win things at least. And I don't know how many options you're going to have. United's the obvious one. But do I see United win the league next few years? No, but
you could see United winning trophies, and that's the one thing he hasn't got.
Of course. Yeah, well, they've got more chance than...
I mean, they won one already. They might win two this season, so that might be it. What do you think, Martin? Because if he doesn't do it... The bit I always think is, when he gets changed at England...
Because he won't go Chelsea.
He won't go Chelsea. No. He's a brilliant footballer, and, he does... he's Tottenham's record scorer and England's record scorer. When he gets changed with England, though, he must look around that dressing room. Sterling and Grealish and Rashford. I mean, Saka's won the FA Cup, and all these players, and think... Blimey, they're all winning. Yeah. They're all winning, and I'm not. That must really bug him, doesn't it?
Well, Manchester United would need him. Chelsea need him. Whether, as you say, whether they'll sell to Chelsea, they don't tend to sell to Chelsea. There's talk about Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich certainly need a striker.
That's true.
And if you can't win the league at Bayern Munich, I don't know where you can win it. I know they're second at the moment, but you wouldn't bet against them in the last however many games are left. So there's potential for that. It's whether he wants to move abroad. Everyone's always said, he doesn't want to move abroad. But that's probably because he thought he could get a move in this country. And if Tottenham aren't willing to sell him in this country, well, then you're running out of options. People mention Paris Saint-Germain, but I mean, Paris Saint-Germain is a it's a
basket case.
It's weasels in a sack.
I think you're right. I think it's Man U or Munich.
Yeah, I would say, because Tottenham won't sell to Chelsea.
Well, he wouldn't. I don't think he'd do that to the Tottenham fans.
No, absolutely. He'd be great at Chelsea. He's exactly what Chelsea
needs. I think he'd take one look at Sol Campbell and think, I'm not going to Chelsea. Don't you think, with everything that's happened to Sol Campbell, with the way that Tottenham fans look at him? I'm not
sure Tottenham and Chelsea's as strong as the Tottenham Arsenal thing.
It's probably not quite, but it's probably not far off it.
Kick off, straight talking and straight to the point. Every Tuesday to Thursday night from 7 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.